Ladies and gentlemen, today on the program, the very first Roadisode. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, John, what is a Roadisode? Let me try to answer that question with an answer. That's a MASH reference for anybody who's paying attention out there. And while we're talking about it, let me say that Larry Linville, who played Major Frank Burns on the MASH television show, was one of the most underrated comic actors of our generation. That's just an aside. Here's the deal. If you've been paying attention until now, you know that I'm a working drummer. And that means I spend a fair amount of my time out there on the road, playing shows, meeting the people, taking in the local culture, that sort of thing. And that's all great. But when you're on the road, it's really, really tough to schedule interviews with people. I never quite know what the schedule will be. I never quite know if the Wi-Fi is going to work. And since I do so much of my interviewing via Skype, that's kind of important. So when I'm out there for a few weeks at a time, I don't really schedule interviews. But I still want to keep the content coming for my faithful listeners, and so my answer to that is to do Roadisodes. And the fortunate thing is that I travel with a bunch of really insightful, intelligent, articulate, funny people who make for great guests. And the first of those is my very, very good friend Ken Lezen, and you're about to hear that episode when I'm done this little ramble. Ken and I travel with Sarah Smith mostly, the great Sarah Smith. And it's become kind of a ritual for us to post-show sample a bottle of red wine. Merlots, we're big on Merlots. And we chill in our hotel room and we talk. Because there does tend to be a post-gig kind of come down. There's this kind of mellow, warm feeling. Well, if the gig went well, which it typically does, we like to just sit and be the guys in the band together. And it's a really special time, actually. There's a weird thing about a band. I have other people who play music, and they describe it as being kind of a band of brothers or a band of sisters. It's like a family, and especially if you travel together. You do 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks together on the road, the bonds become very deep. You get to know each other very well, and you share experiences, some good, some not so good, that kind of bind you together forever. And there's a thing about a traveling band that is intense and deep and really profound. And profundity might not be what you expect when you hear me chatting with Ken Lezen over a bottle of wine in a Prince Edward Island hotel room. But the experiences are profound, and they can be. And he and I have been as far south as Texas and as far east as PEI. Well, that's not even true. As far east as Netherlands. We've been to Europe together a couple of times. We've played a lot of shows and a lot of configurations with a lot of bands, and we've had some great experiences. Now, if you know Ken Lezen, you know that he is a singular character. There's nobody quite like him. And he has been not just a great friend, but a great mentor to me as a professional musician. He has a way of seeing the world that is gentle, peaceful, and fierce at the same time. He's really an interesting guy. And for me, it was fun to just sit down with him and get on record some of his story. He's been playing music for a long time. He's had ups and downs. He's had tough times. He's had great times. He's kind of run the gamut, and it was really fun just to hear him talk about it. The other fun thing about Roadisodes is that there's no script. Normally when I go into a conversation, I have some questions laid out. I have a direction that I kind of use as a default. So I have a roadmap that's there in case I need it. Because sometimes you get a guest on the other end of the line who's not super chatty. And as an interviewer, you need to be able to push things in a direction and have material ready. And, because dead air is really awkward and uncomfortable. Roadisode is a different thing. I don't go in with an agenda. We hit the red button and we start talking. And knowing the people that I travel with, you can generally expect that to be a fun conversation, and this one most definitely was. There are going to be more Roadisodes, gentle listener. I'm going to Europe with Ken and Sarah and our good friend Denny Gauthier for a few weeks. 6 weeks, I think, 5 weeks in September. We're going to be in Germany, we're going to be in the Netherlands, and who knows who may turn up on those Roadisodes when we do them. That's going to be really demanding because it actually takes quite a lot of time to produce one of these episodes, for me anyways. And if you've been around for a while, you know that I blog on those European tours. Every day there's a new blog post about our adventures. That is demanding as well, because my tourmates will be putting their heads down for an afternoon nap when we get those opportunities, and there will be Drummer Boy up at his keyboard typing furiously away, trying to say something meaningful about whatever we've been through. And there I am in the back of the van typing furiously away, and there I am trying to find Wi-Fi so I can upload these blog posts. And to that, we'll be adding more Roadisodes, I guess, as we're out there, and hopefully that will work. It's going to be, it's demanding enough. We generally play every day when we go over there, so in this case, there may be, 30 shows, something like that. So playing all that and doing all the traveling and then blogging and then trying to do a podcast, it's extraordinarily demanding, but you know what? You live once, kids. And at my age, my ripe age, one never knows how many tours there will be. I'm hoping that there will be loads of tours. I hope that there will be bigger tours and that we'll all grow together and it'll be great. At the same time, you never quite know when it might be the last one, so I try to appreciate them all. And yeah, I blog about them because why not fully immerse yourself in the experience? And if you want to read those tour blogs, go to john-huff.com and click on Tour Blog, and you will see the complete Sarah Smith European Tour blog of 2017 and 2018. And I think they're a lot of fun, and people like them. And you can learn a lot more about today's guest, Ken the Zen, if you read those, because he's all over them. Because he and I have sat in the back of that thing, that van, that Sprinter, and driven all over the place, having a really great time together. So yes, Roadisodes are coming. They're going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And, it's another glimpse behind the scenes at a band out there on the road doing its thing. So today, a hotel room in Prince Edward Island, a bottle of Canadian Merlot, a conversation with Ken the Zen about music, about Star Wars, about Batman, about some of the wonderful artists we've played with together, and our dreams for the future. Enjoy this episode, kids. And if you have questions for a touring band, if there's stuff you want to know, if there's stuff you want us to talk about on some of these episodes, by all means, contact me, johnhuffpodcast@gmail.com. Follow me on Facebook, post your comments, and please do share these episodes, my friends, because that's how we grow together, organically, authentically, enthusiastically. And with all of that in mind, here's an authentic and enthusiastic conversation behind the scenes with Ken Ross, the bass boss, aka Ken the Zen. Please do enjoy. And hey, roll intro! listening to the John Huff Podcast. Oh, yay.
This is how we do it.
Oh, man. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the very first episode from the road.
Well, life from the road is good.
Life on the road is good.
Yes.
So what you're getting here is me, your host, with the great Ken the Zen.
Thanks, lungs.
Touring companion extraordinaire for the past 2 years of my career. 2 years plus. Where are we, Ken the Zen?
Right now, we are in the beautiful area of Summerside, Prince Edward Island, which is a tiny province on the east coast of Canada.
That it is.
Yes.
Now, we're also going to be taking something of a culinary trip on this episode. We have in front of us 2 bottles of Merlot. We have discovered that we like Merlot, and it's become something of a post-gig hotel ritual to share some wine, have a conversation post-gig. We didn't have a gig today.
No.
But we're still going to keep that tradition alive because this is the first episode from the road. So, we're going to flip a coin.
Yes. Let the universe decide our fate.
Whether we go to British Columbia, Canada, or to
Italia.
Verona.
Yes.
We may go to Verona. That was kind of a Greek sound.
They make a spicier wine. My mama does.
So we're going to let the fate of destiny decide where we go. So,
would you like to flip the beaver?
I'll flip the beaver. What are the rules here?
I don't know. Beaver obviously has to be Canada.
Oh, that makes a certain amount of sense.
So, there we go. All right.
I'm flipping right now.
Wait a sec. Is this NFL rules? Like you get to catch it, or do we have to call it in the air? Do we have to wait for it to bounce once? What's going on? What are the rules?
You're the guest, so I will let you set the parameters for this. Catch it or drop it?
We have to drop it on the ground, like the infamous Pittsburgh Steelers toss in overtime, where they called it and then the referee changed their mind. That was a nightmare.
This is a sore spot for Ken the Zen, the Steelers fan.
All right, let's flip it. I'll call it in the air.
Do we need to call it? Beavers is Canada.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason to call it.
Yeah, you're right. Universe shall call it. Let's do
Universal call it. You ready?
Yes.
Do you want to give us a drum roll? Here we go.
Oh. That is one filthy rodent right there.
That's a beautiful beaver.
Is a beaver a rodent?
Some people would say it is.
I don't know.
We're going to, I think, Kelowna, British Columbia, for this bottle of Copper Moon Moonlight Harvest Merlot.
Well, I've done a few tours actually in the Okanagan Valley.
So have I.
And I've also visited a couple wineries there.
Have you?
And if my memories serve me right, that could have been one of them.
Copper Moon. Let's see what the bottle says about this bottle of wine we're about to indulge.
Yes, please.
Harvested under the light of the moon, this unique wine delivers the unexpected. A cool, fresh taste that captures the mystery of the night itself.
Woo! Jeez.
Its classic charisma sparkles with notes of cherries and plums, making it the ideal complement for roasted and grilled red meats, pizza, and assorted cheeses.
Well, I am excited about this.
You know what they say at church, Ken?
No, I don't.
What a friend we have in cheeses.
Well.
And it's a screw top. Listen. Very, very classy wine.
That is great. I've been thinking about your monologue there, and I know that most nights are actually mysteries, which is why they have those things that cover their faces. Would that be right?
What things? Shades?
I don't know. It's like those helmets that cover their faces. You know, I think maybe it's from swords, but I think it's just so you don't know who is murdering you.
You mean Kniggets?
Well, I think the K is silent.
It is?
No, I don't know.
Monty Python were a bright bunch of guys, and they described it as Kniggets.
Oh, well.
Oh, we're pouring. Listen. Oh, that is just a magnificent wine. Try some of that.
Yes, perhaps if these guys are listening, they could go to john-huff.com and send you a case.
That's JOHN-HUFF.com.
Wow.
I've said that now 15 times on various shows. So I was saying to Ken before we started this episode, I've only consumed an adult beverage with one other guest as we were recording. And Ken guessed right away that it was Denny Gauthier.
Yes. Hello, Denny.
Our tour companion for Europe and a few spots around Ontario, too.
It's true. It's also a ritual when we're over there to indulge a little bit in a bottle of red after a performance.
And do we get some fine wines in Europe?
Yes. All right. Well, let's cheers this up, John.
All
This is your podcast, so you deliver the speech.
A toast to music, to Prince Edward Island, and to beavers.
This bud's for you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. That's all right.
Oh,
I don't mind that.
okay. That's got some sort of start, and then there's aromas and things, and then it definitely has a finish, too.
You know, I'm drinking that and I'm thinking, it's the mystery of the night itself.
Merely a flesh wound.
It's merely a flesh wound. It's got a night kind of flavor. Have you ever watched a cooking show? Giada De Laurentiis was really hilarious for this. You ever watched Giada?
No.
You've probably seen her.
Can't even say it.
She's like this striking Italian kind of chef. Super beautiful, and everybody accused her of being a fake, like a model. No, nobody's that beautiful. You're just a model who they're making the cooking show out of. But Giada had this way of describing things just by using the word that it was. It's really peachy. It's just really, cheesy. It's like, you're not helping us, Giada. So this wine is really nighty. Really nighty.
It is nighty. Yes, it definitely puts my taste buds into some sort of orbital pattern around my palate, perhaps.
Ooh, see, they should put that on the back of the bottle.
Yeah, swish is another word, a synonym for that, I think. I'm not sure, though. I've been reading lately, so I don't know.
You've been reading a lot. We went to a bookstore today.
We did. It's a magical bookstore, actually.
It is a magical bookstore. And
tell us the story, please.
Well, the thing is, I don't know in which order these episodes will come out.
Well,
so I wound up doing an interview with the owner of this bookstore. Her name is Nancy. She's great. And, by the time you hear this, the Nancy episode may be released or it may not. But last year we were here in Summerside on tour with Sarah Smith and Tanya Thomas, the medium. And we went into this bookstore, which had only been open, we think, 3 days.
Yes.
She has a little sign out front. It's Seaside Books in Summerside. And she has a little sign out front. It was like day 3. And today we went to visit because we love this place. It's a secondhand bookstore, but it's got this great vibe and mojo. And today it was day 333.
I think you're seeing triple, perhaps.
Well, to numerologists, that's a significant number.
Oh.
I don't know what it means, but all repeating numbers have significance to numerologists. So there was some sort of universe thing happening. And then I wound up doing what is a really great interview with Nancy from the bookstore. So, hey, the road is a wild and crazy place.
That's right. Well, Nancy is great. There's no question about it. I bought the entire Planet of the Apes collection last year.
Oh, man.
Haven't read it, but I'm pretty sure that something happens, and then there's things, and there's apes. And
you damn dirty ape!
Yes, old Blue Eyes. That's what they called Charlton Heston in the first movie.
Did they?
Yep, Blue Eyes. I remembered it mostly because I have blue eyes, and I thought they were talking about me.
You do have blue eyes.
But I don't have the bronze skin that gentleman has.
You're translucent.
Yes, right. And I'm certainly no Spartacus.
You've been in the sun a lot lately, and nothing has happened.
No, I've been growing age spots, I've been told. Some people call them freckles, to be gentle. But our friend Tanya is not gentle sometimes.
Our friend Tanya is not gentle. Yes. But she talks to the dead. So,
I don't.
I don't either.
I don't.
I wish I did, but I don't.
Alice Cooper said he loved the dead.
Yeah?
Which I do too. There's a lot of dead people that I do love, for sure.
Louis C.K. said that mostly what you're ever going to be is a dead person.
Most of your time,
yeah.
I guess. Yeah, that is true, I suppose. I was just reading actually that nothing actually dies. We just transform energy.
Yes.
And go into something else.
I've heard that.
So I hope I go into something beautiful. That's my nightly thought, actually.
You're already beautiful, Ken the Zen.
Thank you.
In a past life, you wished to be something beautiful, and you became Ken the Zen.
Oh, fair enough. Maybe.
Why do they call
It's
you?
been a ride.
Why do they call you Ken the Zen?
Well, I would
it rhyme?
say something clever, like it rhymes.
Yeah.
But what happened actually is years ago, probably 13 or so, I used to be known as Ken Ross, the bass boss.
Right.
Mostly because my name is Ken Ross.
And you play the bass.
And I play the bass, and that also rhymes, which is Huff the Stuff. That is how nicknames go sometimes. So anyways, I was in a band called Tommyrot, and my stage name was Ken Ross, the bass boss. And then as the universe goes, we might get into that later, I joined a band called The Joys.
Yes.
And the fearless leader of that band, whose name is Sarah Smith.
Right.
I don't think she could say that. It was so many syllables. Ken Ross, the bass boss. So she's just like, Ken the Zen. And from then, sometimes your character becomes the art. So I became more Zen-y at that time.
Well, that's a legit thing for you.
Yeah, it's for real. I studied Buddhism before I met Sarah, and I continue to today. Not so much Zen Buddhism, but that's okay. It still rhymes.
What's the difference?
Well, I think what it is, it started in India, and as it spread across the continent, like many things, each country kind of has to adapt their own variation of these things.
Okay.
So I believe Zen Buddhism actually started in Japan.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
All right. So you're not a practicing Zen Buddhist.
No.
But you are a Buddhist.
But I do read about it.
You are a Buddhist of sorts.
I'm not really ready for which label, actually. I'm not sure.
You're not into labels, period.
No, I'm not. They're useless, really.
Yeah.
Categories and stuff, it just kind of dulls the conversation, I think.
What about in record stores?
Well, I'm not so much in record stores, too, because, I could get upset, like, if I'm looking for someone named Alice Cooper, per se.
Right.
Is he a rock guy? Is he a metal guy? Is he a singer-songwriter because he just has a name? He's had a couple of songs that are country-ish, perhaps. So it's just confusing. Just give me the alphabet and I can work it out. But is it A or C? That's another question.
Well, man.
I know. I'm a collector of vinyl records. I have thousands. And in my collection, Alice Cooper is under... What do you think?
I think he's under A.
He is under C.
Blimey.
Unfortunately. So the rules that I have, and this is a conundrum, if you prefer.
That's right.
Is so if it's a solo artist, let's call them as somebody's name, Billy Joel, then I would put it under their last name.
Okay.
But if it's a band, then I would put it under their first name. So Alice Cooper is both. It was the Alice Cooper band.
Yeah.
Initially, it wasn't a person, it was a band.
Right.
Until he took over the persona, and then it became a person. So I'm
both.
going with the persona person aspect of that.
She asked me why the singer's name was Alice.
That's right. So that's spoken in third person? Is that what it is? Talking about somebody else?
Yeah.
And that was because that song was written by the guitar player, Michael Bruce.
Interesting.
So if it was written by Alice, he'd probably say why my name was Alice.
Why my name is Alice.
Huh. And then he said, listen, baby, you really wouldn't understand because there is no person named Alice at that point, 1971. Rock and Roll Jeopardy champion right here.
This is going deep, man.
Yeah. So
why this fascination with Alice Cooper?
Alice Cooper. So what happened was when I was a young lad, probably about 13, my uncle, who pretty much raised me on music, his name is Alex, and I love him. He's passed away. He loved Alice Cooper. So I would go over to his place, and he always played this record called Raise Your Fist and Yell.
Oh, yeah.
And the cover work was awesome. The music was great. And that kind of started me off. And then I just went to the back catalog and learned about the original band. And I think those musicians are awesome. And I've seen him now probably 11 times, and 11 times a winner. Have you met Alice Cooper? Have you ever shook his hand?
No, I have not. But, I mean, I know him. I know his music. I know his songs. 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 I know his son
Funny enough, I did one time, a friend gave me backstage passes for Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
He knew the drummer. And I was like, awesome, this is finally my time to meet Alice. So I get my passes. We go backstage. We're hanging out with the band. Mostly the drummer. We're in his room talking, and I got to meet the other guys. Anyways, there's no Alice. So I talked, the drummer was Eric Singer. So I'm talking to him.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Right.
And, I was like, I really want to meet Alice and all that stuff. He's like, well, usually just hangs out in his room downstairs and we don't really see him until the bus.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, I'm appreciate my opportunity and all that kind of stuff. So after an hour or so hanging out with him, I go meet my friends who were waiting for me out front of the club, and they all met Alice Cooper because he went out front.
Oh, no, man.
Yeah. So talk about something. I don't know.
You were supposed to hang with Eric Singer.
Which was it's still great, but not as great.
Eric Singer was the drummer for Kiss. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things he's best known for.
Totally true. I won't hold that against him at all.
I know, because you're not a Kiss guy.
I am not a Kiss guy at all.
That's weird to me, because Alice Cooper is such a theatrical thing. It's costumes.
Yeah.
It's rock and roll.
Yeah.
What's your beef with Kiss, Ken the Zen?
Well, I think really what it comes down to is that Kiss, as far as I'm aware, kind of started in the breakup of the Alice Cooper band.
Really? I didn't know this.
So Bob Ezrin, who is Alice Cooper's producer, and fantastic producer, of course, he could kind of see the divisioning happening in the Alice Cooper band. So he found a bunch of guys and kind of did that thing, which to me was almost a ripoff of Alice Cooper in a sense. So I just started off on the wrong foot, and I'm still balanced on that wrong foot, unfortunately.
Really?
For them. But I do love rock and roll. I love it loud.
I love it loud too. I love it. And, when I hear my song playing on the radio.
Right, yeah.
It's,
I always tell my cat, right before it's finished its meal, lick it up. Lick it up. Whoa,
lick it up.
Yeah, so,
lick it up.
Kiss is a big part of my life.
It is.
Just not so much musically, that's all.
Kiss informs the popular culture.
I have nothing against the Kiss Army. Wonderful bunch of people. But it's just not my vibe, that's all. Although I do, my favorite Kiss song, which tells you I'm probably not in the Kiss Army, is I Was Made for Loving You. By far, that's my favorite song.
The disco song.
I love it. Yeah, it was really good.
What do you think of the bass work in that too? Jigga, 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 jigga.
I think, I think it's there. I think it's really bassin', for sure.
Kiss was such a group of opportunists. Like, this disco thing is happening. Let's get a disco song out.
Yeah, I do. I really do like that song, honestly. I've never played it, but I would love to one day.
I'm a little surprised you haven't played that.
I'm surprised too.
Because you've played in so many bands, and so many of them were like classic rock cover situations. Absolutely.
I've played Rock and Roll All Night.
Yeah.
But never in a gigging band. I've never actually played that. I've played that when I was a teenager in one of my first bands.
I think it would be hard to cover I Was Made for Loving You vocally.
Sure, absolutely.
Right?
I know.
Who could pull that off?
Yeah, well.
Not me.
I mean, Paul Stanley did, I suppose.
Maybe.
That day.
I mean, the rumors around Kiss now are that their whole show is on tracks. Like even the banter.
Well, the thing about that is, I also read about a Live One, which is like one of the best rock live albums ever. That they went in and just redubbed everything, anyways.
Really?
Or most of it, like 80%.
Yeah.
And that's just another thing that I'm not particularly into. I understand why people do it, but for me, no thanks. That's all.
I really like live records.
Me too. I've got some great ones. What's your favorite live record that you can think of?
My favorite live record, I know I'm supposed to say Live All Over the Place by King's X, but it's actually not. It's Face to Face live, recorded during a series of shows in 1996. Face to Face is a fabulous Southern California punk band. They play super fast, super melodic, really, really tight. And the bass player is Scott Shiflett, brother of Chris Shiflett from the Foo Fighters. Just a little trivia.
Yeah.
And they put out a live album mid-90s that was just banging. And they're a punk band, and it's straight up, here it is. Bad notes and all. They just dropped that thing, and it was killer.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have a far more extensive collection than I do of live albums.
I probably do.
Yeah.
I probably do. I've been to your house, and I haven't seen many albums, to be honest.
Well, there's certainly no vinyl, except anything that I played on that people gave me.
Right. I have a vinyl that you played on.
Yes.
Also.
The Hearts one.
In my collection.
Yeah.
Which I put under H, in case you're curious.
Since both words start with H.
I felt very safe with that one.
You didn't put it under the Jen Marino band, which existed, by the way, at one point in time.
I've actually got asked to gig with Jen Marino in the Jen Marino band. Yes, as a fill-in one time. I'm going to guess somewhere around 2009 or 8-ish.
That's before...
Didn't pan out, but Jen and I go back.
That's before Jen got jaded by the music business.
Yeah,
me too. She dawdled off to Alberta for a while and sort of left it all together. And then some years later returned, found herself looking for a band. And at the time, our singer, my very good friend Megan, had left the band for various reasons. And we dialed up Morgan Lander.
Oh, okay, yes.
Of Kitty fame.
Yeah, okay.
And we were like, hey, Morgan, do you want to join our band? People would find that strange because if you listen to Kitty,
yes,
that's metal.
Yes.
New metal 2000s, and Morgan can scream like nobody's business. Mm-hmm. That weird voice that they do, I don't understand it.
Yes.
So people might think that's weird for a bluesy rock band, but actually Morgan can sing too.
Yeah.
You know, so we put that to her like, hey, do you want to join the band? Are you interested? She's like, wasn't really into it, but my friend Jen is looking for a band, and you should maybe talk to her because we didn't know Jen.
Yeah.
I creeped her after that. Now here's the way the world all ties together. So you should check out Jen. So I went online and I creeped Jen, and there's a video from several years ago of Jen doing like live band karaoke, and she's singing Four Non Blondes, I think. Okay. The one song that they had the song annoys me, but anyways.
What's up?
Yeah, what's up? They were doing that song, and it was Jen singing with Sarah Smith.
Get out of here.
Yeah, the two of them.
Yes.
And Jen was just crushing it, and we're like, oh, that's the voice we want for this band, man.
I wonder if I was playing there.
You might as well. It's like a super grainy video. You can only see the two of them.
Was there a band?
I think it was live band,
I'm sure I was playing.
You probably were.
Jen sang with us when I was in a band called The Joys fairly often.
Yeah?
Yeah, every Sunday almost. She would come out and she would come up and sing fairly often. Yeah.
So we heard that and we're like, that's the voice. And we brought Jen in and she auditioned for us, and the rest is history.
That's funny.
So that was Hiroshima Hearts. The vinyl. I played on the vinyl, right?
Right. So talking about Jen and you drafting her, let's say, the band that you drafted her from was Guy Miskelly's cover band.
That's right.
Which I believe was called the Groove Doctor.
Dr. Groovinator.
Dr. Groovinator, correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So the world is small.
And Guy is, of course, Sarah's main lead guitar player.
That's right. He's the guy. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
And then the lead guitar player, the only guitar player from Hearts, is Tyler. And we played in Carly Thomas's band, the three of us.
Yes.
At one point in time.
Absolutely right. It's true. We've played in a few acts together, I think.
Carly. That was my introduction to you.
Carly was, we killed that.
For a while, we did.
Well, when we were there, we killed it.
We did.
Absolutely. And then we were also, for a stint, in Moondog Uproar.
One show.
That's a stint.
That's an official stint.
Yeah, if you look up stint, one show counts. We were also in Lindsey Burns and the Lonelies.
For a stint?
For maybe just the st.
I was there for years, but you were there for a
I was only there for a while. I was just vacationing with them, which was lovely. Great band. Super talented people. I was sad that I didn't get to continue on with them. And I have no doubt we've played with other people somehow.
I think
we're in a band together.
The Sarah Smith band we played in.
Sarah Smith, I've heard of her.
Yeah.
Sarah Smith band, yeah, we play together. And then we have a band called The Three.
The Three. There are three of us.
There's three of us.
But there's also the Ken the Zen and Johnny Strange duo.
Yes, there is. That's all request duo. And I love that. It's some of my favorite gigs.
Those are fun gigs.
They are.
We play acoustically 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And I play my box.
Yeah. He bangs his box.
I bang my box.
Yeah.
And we have a ball, actually.
We do, yeah. People in the crowd what happens is I print off a sheet, has about 200 songs on it, hand it out to everybody in the venue, and then it's just a free-for-all. Whoever shouts it out, we
make an attempt.
We make an attempt. 100% we make an attempt.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything.
Normally it's good.
Never a Kiss song.
Not yet. There's none on the list.
Not yet. Well, if we get requests that aren't on the list, though,
yeah,
and we try it. We try
do stuff. We,
Kiss,
of course, also done the duo at Beatles Fest twice.
Yes, 2 years in a row. We got, the only 2 years of the Beatles Fest existence.
Yeah.
We got to play an all Beatles set, which was awesome for me. I'm a massive Beatles fan.
Yeah.
And I'm turning John.
Oh, I've always liked the Beatles, but I've not been as deep with their catalog as I have been with you.
That's right. I'm like Ace Ventura inside of a rhinoceros, deep.
That's
when
deep.
nature calls.
That's deep.
For sure.
That's a hilarious movie scene.
That is an awesome scene. So much. I love it. Oh, man. That poor guy. The rhinoceros.
So we're not going to say anything about this, but keep the Beatles in mind, everyone.
Yes, we do. We do enjoy Beatles music. There's no question about it. And other bands, I don't think that we've been in a project yet, but you were up there as far as musicians I've played in the most acts with. You might be number one, and then Hound Dog Hool would be number two.
Who did you play with? You played with Bender.
I played with Bender with Nick. I played with Hound Dog. I played in my band, my trio. My very first guitar player was Nick.
Oh, really?
When I was doing original music as a trio, I actually wanted to play guitar. And then the bass guitar player that I hired, he was a little not doing his job. He didn't show up for rehearsals. I had no confidence in him. So the night before the show, I just felt, you know what? I'm a pretty good bass player, and I feel like I could make up bass parts better than this guy can rehearse them. And so I fired him. And then I thought, okay, it'll be easier for me to find a guitar player than a bass player.
Right.
So Nick was my first call, and he came in 1 day's notice, and he killed it for sure. It was pretty good.
Those dudes, Nick and Ian
are awesome.
They have a duo thing called Delta Stone, but more what they're doing more nowadays is Delta Stone and the War Dogs, which is probably, in terms of sheer numbers of players, one of the biggest bands in the city.
I love that band.
They're great. They're a killer band, and Ian's a total rock star.
Yeah, those guys are great.
And
they really are.
Nick is rad, and they're a great band. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that you played with them. That's cool.
And we also played for somebody that you know very well.
Who's that?
We had a headlining gig at Centennial Hall this one time.
Yeah.
And that was under Sarah Smith.
Oh, really?
So Nick came in, and it was before Guy.
Yeah.
And he came in, and he killed that show too. Had his dobro out. And,
oh, really?
It was awesome, yeah. It was really good. I think it was a great experience for him, and I had a fun time again playing with him. And I'll play with him again at some point doing something, for sure.
Well, we should get him in on something.
Maybe. We'll see. He's pretty busy.
Maybe we should ride Nick and Ian's coattails.
I would love to, although the War Dogs are pretty good.
Yeah,
and they're nice guys.
Yeah.
They're nice guys.
And
girls, for sure.
Yeah.
I used to run an open mic, and I think it was their very first performance was at my open mic.
Yeah.
They came down, and they absolutely blew me away. So anybody listening, check them out. Delta Stone and the War Dogs.
It's bittersweet for me, though, because you've admitted that they knocked Hiroshima Hearts out of #1 on your list of local bands.
Well, see, the thing that's good about that is that I can trust you enough that I can just be honest.
That's true. And I can trust you.
Hiroshima Hearts were my favorite London rock band for sure. And Delta Stone came in and they knocked them down one peg.
One peg.
For sure.
One peg.
Yeah, for sure. But they're still up there.
Still hurts me.
They're still up there.
I'm not in the band anymore, though, but it hurts me for the rest of the band.
So Hiroshima hurts for John.
Hiroshima hurts, but I brought it on myself because I resigned from the band. So.
That's how it happens, unfortunately.
I resigned from the band so I could go on the road with you.
Well, then life is good.
We're okay.
It was a good choice.
We're drinking Kelowna Merlot and we're sitting in a hotel in PEI.
the night like this podcast edition episode is a mystery.
It's mysterious.
Yes.
It's so mysterious. So let's talk about your journey, man. Let's talk about Tommyrot.
All right. So I used to be in a band called Tommyrot. Started in 1999 up until 2007. So what happened was back in high school, in the 90s, I was in a couple of punk rock bands and things, alternative rock bands. And then I just gave up on music. The band fell apart and I was like, there's no real point. I was, working with some life insurance, doing that kind of stuff. And I was perusing Music World one day in Westmount Mall. And this guy came up to me. He's like, hey, Ken. And I looked, I didn't quite recognize him, but he's like, hey, it's Pete Comrie. I was like, oh, hey, how are you doing, Pete? He's like, good. He's like, are you still playing bass? I said, no, Pete, I stopped playing music. He said, I remember you seem to be a pretty good bass player. You should really get back on that. I said, I really don't think so. It's not my vibe right now. So anyways, he said that his band was missing a bass player and they needed one. And they would love to have me come out and audition.
Wow.
So I went home and thought about it, as everybody should before you make a decision. Sleep on at least one night. I thought about it, and then I talked with my lady at the time and said, why not? Let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
So I went out, I learned their songs, and I got the part. I got 2 out of 3 votes to be in the band.
That's terrific.
Which is pretty good. And the one vote I didn't get, he said my playing was amazing, but I look weird. So I didn't know, it was like an image thing, I guess.
Image is everything, man.
Image for some people.
Andre Agassi will tell you, image is everything.
Right. So anyways, I joined that band in 1999. We recorded 2 albums and went through various member changes, but I lasted until 2007 when I joined the Joyce.
So you probably looked then a lot like you look now. I've seen pictures.
So the real thing, how I describe myself is I'm like, at that time, a skinnier Stephen Baldwin is how it was. I have a picture I have a plaque on my wall of my very first album release. So my band photo from then is like a selfie down shot before they were cool down shots.
Okay.
And yeah, with my eyes looking up, it was like, oh man, that's the guy from the Flintstones. So there it was, Stephen Baldwin. Now I have taken on more of a Macaulay Culkin meets Brad Pitt kind of thing.
Meets Brad Pitt.
Yeah, mostly in the body for Brad Pitt and then the face for Macaulay.
Yes. Yeah, I've noticed that too. But I mean, because you and Macaulay Culkin share that kind of heroin look. That's good.
We do. We both look like we're making the wrong choices. However, we're probably both making the right choices.
I don't know what choices he's making.
Yeah, that's just genetics, I guess.
You're making good choices.
I am. I'm trying my best.
Tell me about. Tommyrot did really well.
We did do really well. We did all the things that bands do. We made records and traveled around and had people at our gigs.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, we were pretty popular in London, especially. But every Sunday night, same as Jen Marino, we had my band Tommyrot open up for Sarah's band, The Joyce.
Yeah. So
that was about a year. And then they needed a bass player. So I thought, well, it's a story. So I did go and auditioned and I got the part.
Yeah.
But I'll give you the story.
Okay, please.
So one night I'm in bed, sleeping at home, and I have this dream. Okay. So I have this dream that I'm in a band with Archie Gamble, who's the drummer of the Joyce.
Right.
And then we're in a band, but I needed a guitar. So one of his friends had loaned me a guitar. And I was playing the guitar in my dream, and the strap fell off, and the guitar broke. Uh-oh. And anyways, I got in a lot of shit. I got my head reamed off. So anyways, I woke up and it was I was sweating. It was almost like a nightmare. I was like, oh, what's going on? I couldn't get back to sleep. So I was like, oh, I'll check my computer. So I checked my computer and there's a message on MySpace from, wow. 2007.
Yeah.
From Archie Gamble saying that
wow.
the Joys are in search of a bass player. So I thought, well, this is kind of funny that this all just happened. So I wrote up a letter, I know, hey, Archie, I know this guy. He's got, 13 years experience. He's traveled. He's done all this, recorded records, all that kind of stuff. Really pumped this guy up. And then at the end, I was like, oh, by the way, in case you haven't figured it out, it's me. Okay.
Always so clever.
So, that's just trying to get a gig. So I went back to bed. Everything was fine. I woke up in the morning and I thought, with that dream of Archie, I really have a feeling that this message is not going to get passed along, So I copied and pasted my message onto Sarah's MySpace and the Joys and Mike Mackay's.
Right.
So anyways, I get the call that, I've been accepted to audition. I think there were 17 guys that came out, or people that came out.
That's crazy.
And I came in there. I'm kind of a go-getter. So we were asked to learn 4 songs for this audition. So I went and I learned their entire discography.
Wow.
And I walked into the room with a 40 of Jack Daniels, put it down, and said, it's time for this band to get to work.
You knew this band so well already.
Yeah. And the rest, as they say, is history.
I have a Jack Daniels story.
I love Jack.
So Hearts opened for Finger 11 on New Year's Eve. I think 3 years ago now. Maybe it's 2017. 2016 into 2017, I think. It was at the Bandshell at Victoria Park in London. Yes. So you've played there lots.
I have.
And there's a green room. You kind of backstage and you go up the stairs and there's a green room. And so Hearts were doing the indie band thing. We're going to sneak some CDs to Finger 11 because they want them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I did.
If every touring band wants the opener indie band's record.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
We did the same thing when we worked the Steven Tyler gig. We made darn sure Steven Tyler got our record because he's going to break us.
Right.
Anyways, we're going to give CDs to Finger 11. And we're rolling our eyes at ourselves as we're doing this. We're like, yeah, we're going to be that band. But you have to. So we sneak up into the green room, hoping to catch Finger 11, right? We get up there and we peek our heads in. There's nobody around. Not a soul. There's nothing except one bottle of Jack sitting on the table.
Yes.
This is Finger 11 getting ready to go do a show.
Yes.
Very instructive.
That's pretty cool.
Right?
That is pretty cool.
That's my Jack story.
That is a good Jack story. So I'm gonna take us back to my Joyce thing.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
So I do the audition. Everything's going well. I get the call from their manager, and they're like, the guys have talked, and you're the guy. If you want the gig,
sweet,
it's yours. So I'm in a real dilemma because I've been in a band that I'm the band leader in.
Right.
I do most of the writing. And everything is kind of the way that I like it. So am I going to leave that family for a new family? And I was really torn about it. I was happy that I got the gig, but it was a big decision for me. So I wake up in the morning. It happens to be Father's Day. Okay, this is late June. I joined the band in July. My daughter, I love her so much, Sydney, she makes me this little plasticine man who kind of looks like me. So like odd colored and I'm colorblind, but I think green hair or some sort of bright hair. I don't even know. Anyways, it was super cute and adorable. And it was squished inside a CD case and then with a piece of twine to hang it on the wall.
Huh.
So I'm like, oh, this is awesome, whatever. Anyways, I flip it over and it has the date on there. And it says to my dad, I love you so much. And the reason why I love you so much is because sometimes you get to play with the Joys.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, well,
how are you going to top that?
She didn't know anything about me auditioning for the band. She just knew the band.
Right.
And I thought, well, my daughter knows. And there it was.
Wow.
It was.
I did not know that part.
Yeah. Yeah. The only way you would know is if you go to my house, it's still in my living room wall. It's hanging there and you can read it sometime.
I'm going to have to look at it now.
These are facts.
Because when I go to your house, all I ever see is the egg chair.
Well, it's the point of view for sure.
It's like a sensory deprivation chamber. You sit in there and then it just starts to echo all around you.
The sound in there is fantastic.
I love the egg chair.
It's my meditation chair at home, and I love it so much.
It's weird. So, and if I'm not looking at the egg chair, I'm looking at the turtle.
Yeah, Norman is pretty big.
So I've never noticed what's on the walls before.
Yeah. So next time you come over, if you look in my walls or on my walls, My entire living room is only done by local artists. Every single piece in there.
That's awesome.
And of course, Sydney is a local artist, so her piece made the wall. Of course,
makes perfect sense. I don't own any art at all, except a series of paintings by Monty Colvin, bass player in Galactic Cowboys, who is one of my top 5 bands of all time, and who has, in the past 10 years or so, become a friend of mine through the glory of the internet.
Love it.
So I'm pals with Monty, and I now own 4 of his paintings. He's a brilliant painter. So if you're listening to this right now, go to montycolvinart.net, MONTYCOLVIN art.net or .com, one or the other. He just opened up this site, and he does portraits of rock stars in Monty style. But anyways, he did, for the vast majority of the Galactic Cowboys records, he did all of the cover art and inside art. And so
that's awesome.
My favorite Galactic Cowboys record is the Machine Fish record, 1996, I think, 5 or 6. And I now own the original oil paintings.
Yeah.
That's great. The inside cover art from that record. So I need to start a Colvin gallery in my jam space.
That's right. That would be nice.
But it's expensive to frame those things.
Well, I go to the dollar store and just buy frames.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I would want to honor Monty's art with nice frames, you know?
It is true. It's true. Most of my art in my living room is just on the canvas, so I don't have to worry about that so much. Most of it.
I feel like I should frame it. I don't know. But he does really weird art too, so I'd have to put it in the jam space because I don't think Kimmy would allow it in the nice parts of the house. You know what I mean?
I think your jam space is nice.
It is nice, I know. Yeah, but she doesn't spend a lot of time down there anymore, so I feel like I could kind of man cave that a little bit. Yeah.
I like it. Nothing but Arsenal jerseys and photos of kittens. A Habs pennant. Oh, yes.
And then my Colvin gallery. But I love local art. Like, I would like to collect more of it. Like, I feel like I should get Denny to do something for me.
I have 2 Denny Gautiers.
Do you have 2 Denny's?
Yes.
And, like, Angie from Austria.
I have 1 Angie.
Do you
from
really?
Austria, yeah.
What have you got?
Her and Nicole from Germany.
Yeah.
They made me this Canadian flag, or a maple leaf, I should say, made out of cement.
I've seen
plaster.
this.
I don't cement. I'm gonna call it. I'm not one with materials. Yeah. And anyways, there's a painting on it of Darth Vader in a meditative pose,
it's so
which
good.
is pretty much me.
What's your fascination with Star Wars?
I think that I just would really like to be in a galaxy far, far away, perhaps a long time ago.
I feel like sometimes you are in a galaxy far, far away.
I think that I am. I love Star Wars. I really do. I have 2, 4, 5 Star Wars tattoos, 70 Star Wars books, every movie, a bunch of vinyls, art, of course. And I don't have the sheets, but I know that my wife Paula would let me if I found them.
Is there such a thing as Star Wars underoos?
There's got to be. There definitely is for children, but I'm proud to say that I can no longer fit into children underwear. Very fortunate. Thank you, parents.
You're also into Batman.
I also love Batman, and the reason why I love Batman is because, as far as I know, he's the only superhero that doesn't have any like special abilities except for will.
Interesting.
So I would hopefully, I would like to be like Batman.
You told
me use my will to do things.
You told me that the first Batman movie changed your life.
It did. It did.
That's like the Michael Keaton one?
It was the Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson.
Right.
It was one of the first movies I went to by myself, without my parents.
Oh.
I was like 12 years old.
Very nice.
I also brought one of my first girlfriends to the drive-in
for
the same movie.
All right, man.
Yeah, so luckily I already knew the plot, so it was okay. And she also loved purple, so life was good. But yeah, I think it really has to do with the character. I just love that so much that anybody can make a difference. You just have to put in the effort.
Right. And have the courage.
That's all part of the effort, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Because people would say the money too, but you just need the effort. You can find a way.
Yeah. My favorite superhero is Deadpool.
Well, that guy is, I've never even heard of Deadpool to the movies, actually.
Me neither. I'm not into anything like that.
I do like Ryan Reynolds. The first Deadpool I didn't really like, but the second one I really enjoyed.
Oh, really?
I really did. I think I got the character a little bit more.
Is that because you got to see his tiny little boy penis?
Well, this goes against what I just said, but I did feel like I had home.
I just like anything that's irreverent. That's my thing. That's why I like Steel Panther so much. One of the reasons I like Steel Panther so much.
You do like Steel Panther.
I like Steel Panther more than a mature man should, but...
Well, I wonder, you've been to shows. What's their audience like? A lot of like cougars and...
You know what?
Cougarettes kind of thing?
There are a lot of young girls at Steel Panther shows.
Really?
There are. And girls love rock and roll. They go off, man.
I wonder if their parents maybe got conceived to the real first time around edition of that kind of music.
They're all
so like, that's what their mom listens to when they're sad.
Great White Records.
Love Bites and that kind of stuff.
This is what happens at the Steel Panther gig. Excuse me. So they have this song called 17 Girls in a Row.
Right.
Which is about exactly what you think it's about.
Waiting for the bathroom?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
There is a reference to feces. And so they always get people up on stage when they play 17 Girls in a Row.
Okay.
And so they open up this invitation to come on up, ladies, now's your chance. And girls flock to that stage.
Right.
And they're all 20.
Yeah. Well, they're naturally faster than the
Cougars.
The older ones, let's say.
So there's a lot of young women at this show. And this is not what you would describe as music for young women. This is hair metal.
Right, yeah. It's not PC, is that what they call that term?
Lyrically, no.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No. Funny, but not
I'm
PC.
Sure, yeah.
And all of a sudden, the stage will have 20, 30, 20-year-old girls on it going off, man. Like, it's bananas. And it's in some ways irritating because, they really want to steal this show. So they're all kind of elbowing each other for space and trying to outcrass each other. Yeah, okay. And the band loves it. Nobody has more fun than those dudes do. And they're 50-year-old men getting just accosted by these, hot 20-year-old girls. But the girls love it. And it's just like it was in 1988 when this was happening for real.
Okay.
When their moms were 20.
Right.
And they would go crazy like that. So it's weird because girls love rock and roll, man.
That's weird. 1988, my mom was 30. So she was more into like AM radio. Kind of loved sappy stuff. That's what I grew up on at home.
Did you really?
Yeah. A lot of things like that.
Air Supply?
Oh, yeah. Air Supply is definitely a top one. Yeah, for sure.
My sister is
all that stuff.
My sister is a pianist. She's 6 years older than me. So she had sheet music for like I'm All Out of Love, Air Supply, and like I think she had the Journey song.
Oh man.
She definitely had Babe by Styx.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too, 45.
She had the sheet music for it, so she would play it and sing it, right? I have 3 older sisters. They're all wonderful singers. Way, way better than me.
They must be great.
And thank you. And yeah, she would play that stuff and sing it out. She had Sister Christian by Night Ranger.
Oh, gosh.
So I grew up hearing piano versions of those songs. And then there wasn't a whole lot of music in my house. It was really weird because my parents, I grew up in a super duper Christian home. So there was a lot of music that wasn't allowed in my house. Mm-hmm. It was very contraband. I had to be sneaky about some stuff. To slip that Cinderella record into my house took some doing.
Right.
And, but we had like these old Elvis 45s and stuff. So I actually grew up, my first introduction to music was like Elvis.
Oh,
so I'd put the 45s on the record player that was as big as a bed. Like it was like when the record player was a piece of furniture.
Yes. Love those.
And I would listen to like Elvis, Mess of Blues, and they had like this 50s kind of doo-wop music, like early rock and roll stuff. It's really great. And that was kind of my introduction to music. And then we, like my sisters had like Chuck Mangione albums, sax player,
No, I don't.
Oh yeah.
Luckily.
Hot stuff from the 70s, man. And my sister would be like listening to the radio and it would have been early 80s. So I would get like Journey and whatever. I know stuff that makes you crazy, but Things tipped for me when I heard. You ready for this?
I am ready.
Canadian rock band.
Okay.
Mid 80s.
Okay. I'm there.
Who do you think?
I think Loverboy.
A little bit after Loverboy.
Loverboy. Was it Honeymoon Suite?
Yes.
Yes. Was it Wave Babies?
It was New Girl Now.
Oh yeah. I also love Honeymoon Suite.
That tune tipped me.
I got to play with Honeymoon Suite a bunch of times.
Did you?
I did.
As the Joys?
In the Joys, yes, because their manager, Tom, was producer on the Joys Unfold.
Oh, cool.
So we kind of got hooked in that way. And Gary, the bass player for Honeymoon Suite, he would always hang out with me and the drummer Kevin from the Joys because we were always hanging around the young girls.
Yeah.
So he'd always be like, "Hey guys,
because I got
my boots on.
That's right.
Go for a walk.
Do something." That would have been like mid 2000s.
That was it was probably about 2009, I'd say.
So the Honeymoon Suite guys are in their 40s at this point, I would assume.
Yeah, who knows? But older than us for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. So New Girl Now, it's tipped everything for me. That was.
I steal the ending of that song every time I play an E major chord.
Do you really?
Every time. So next time, if you listen to Sarah Smith records, or concerts, every time there's an E major, you'll hear that. In fact, on our new record that's coming up, I played a couple times. I sneak them in there.
Oh,
they don't know till now.
Stolen from Honeymoon Suite.
Yep.
It was that, and my next door neighbor had Twisted Sister's "Stay Hungry."
Yes.
And Van Halen's 1984. And those were my formative rock records.
That's awesome.
Panama, We're Not Gonna Take It, New Girl Now. But as I grew up in such an intensely Christian home, I was only really allowed to purchase Christian rock music.
Did they see the cover for Stay Hungry, those guys?
I never owned that record.
Oh, okay.
But I would certainly listen at my neighbor's house. And I loved Panama. I know you're not a Van Halen guy, but I really am.
I'm losing a lot of friends.
I know. No Kiss, no Van Halen.
I don't need you guys. It's all right.
No, it's... I love Van Halen.
Stay Hungry was the very first record that I ever bought.
Was it?
Vinyl record for myself. Yep.
That's
very first record.
That cover is a statement.
It is amazing. Very first cassette was Billy Idol, Vital Idol.
Oh.
And very first CD was Appetite for Destruction.
That's a nice choice.
What about yourself?
I've never owned a vinyl record in my life. I don't remember what the first cassette I bought was. The first CD I bought was Faith, Hope, Love by King's X.
Oh.
Yes, 1990. I just got my CD player. It was like the component stereo system.
Yeah.
Like good stuff, like Panasonic, I think.
Yeah.
The receiver, the CD player, tape deck, speakers, just banging. It was a boss setup, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the first CD was Faith, Hope, Love by King's X, which remains probably still my favorite King's X record.
That's amazing. My first CD player was a Sony.
Nice.
And I didn't have much money, so I got it stolen for $100.
Beautiful.
Which it took me a while, but hey, man. Appetite for Destruction kicked some ass on that stolen CD player, for sure.
My system was not a Panasonic. It was a Pioneer system.
Nice.
Very nice.
That is quality.
I remember buying it. I was so happy. Because music, those of us who are music people, music is everything.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And from the time I was a little tiny kid, I absolutely loved music. I'd fall asleep leaning against the speaker of that giant turntable piece of furniture in my house.
That's awesome.
Listening to Elvis records, whatever. Like, I remember listening to the radio. I remember distinctly hearing Loverboy on the radio.
Yeah.
It was Turn Me Loose.
Oh, yeah.
And, right?
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Owen Sound, which is a big, big lacrosse town. Big lacrosse town. And my family were lacrosse fans. And I was as well. And a lacrosse player briefly. And I remember distinctly coming home from a game. And I was a little kid, like 8 probably. And I turned on my little radio, because I had one, because I loved it. And there was a song playing that I loved. I couldn't stop listening to it. And then I realized years down the line, it was Turn Me Loose by Loverboy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they had some great songs. For sure.
Sorta.
Yeah. Well,
no, Loverboy's great. They absolutely did.
I got to open for those guys, too, in the Joys, which was awesome.
Man.
Mike Reno was still sweating to the oldies. It was fantastic.
Was he wearing red leather pants?
I didn't look that low. I'm not sure. I was probably at the bar.
More of a boob man.
Yeah, he had the boobs. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, are you on a first name basis with Mike Reno?
Sure. Yeah. Really? Why not? First name basis with everybody, as long as I know it.
As long as you know what it is.
Yeah. We're all one. That's it.
We're all
for
one.
Sure.
We're coming back to the Zen part of all this.
I escaped for a moment, but
what happened to the Joys?
The Joys.
All the Sarah fans will want to know about this.
Well, I'm sure they probably already know, but I can tell my side of things, and that is so I joined 2007, and everything was good. We have a gold record and made a few records. Got to work with Dale Penner as a producer on one of the records. Nice. He did Nickelback's The State and a bunch of Holly McNarlin and that kind of stuff. And it was just a party train. We toured across North America all the time. Yeah. Got to play South by Southwest, which is awesome, a couple times. And, I just got, into the wrong things, nose into the wrong situations. And everything was kind of tumbling for me. And I in 2011, I thought, it's either I'm going to go willingly or I'm going to go unwillingly.
Right.
As in leave this planet. And I said, that's it. I got to quit. I got to get my shit together. So I did all that. And that was in October 15th, 2011 was my last show. And I remember that date so well, not because of that, but because that was the day that the first time I got to hang out with my future wife, which is Paula Ross.
Tell us that story.
So I just finished my very last show with the Joys, which was, bittersweet. I did have to go, but I did love the music and the guys in the band and all that stuff. So anyways, we were done. Normally I'm kind of first to pack up and all that stuff and get to work. And I thought, fuck it. I'm not going to do this. So it was in Kettle Creek at Kettle Point at Birch Pine Park. So they have a massive fire pit beside the stage. It's an outdoor venue. And I thought, I'm just going to sit and reflect for a few minutes. So anyways, I sat down and then Paula came over and sat down beside me. And then we just started talking and laughing. And she was in a relationship. But anyways, I had a great time. So I'm an introvert. But I had such a great time that the next day I found her on Facebook and sent her a message and said, I had a really good time. Hopefully we can hang out some other time, whatever. And she said that she was sad because her and her partner had just split, I guess, on that day. And I was like, oh, that's awful. And she said, well, I'm going out for drinks with a couple of friends tomorrow night. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
So that was October 17th.
Yeah.
And it was hard to get me out of the house, really? Especially at that period of my life.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it anyways. So I did. And that was kind of the start of the happy married life that I live today. Yeah.
Had you met Paula before that?
She had met me a bunch of times.
You don't remember?
I don't remember too well. I remember playing one show in London, and I was walking out to have a cigarette back when I smoked. And there was a sign on the ladies' bathroom door or something. And it just said, Ken Ross is my BFF. So clearly she didn't know I was Ken the Zen, but
obviously.
Ken Ross. Yeah. And I thought, that's cute. It's not very often I get attention. So I was like, oh, that's adorable. And it turned out that was her, even though I don't know why she wrote that, but nonetheless. And then there's a picture on Facebook and it's me rocking out on stage. I got my hair down on my face and some person's got their hand up in the air, like near my face kind of thing. And it says on this person's hand, this girl's phone number. And anyways, that was my friend, and she was going to an after party, and she was trying to touch my hair because she was in love with my silky hair.
Very touchable, yeah.
So we do know each other, but to be fair and truthful, I don't remember too much until that night.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is when I needed to remember. So
right,
that's the way life works.
It's hard leaving a band.
Yeah, it is. So I left the Joys and got myself clean, as they would say. And it was about 6 months later, I was working a couple of jobs, day jobs. And I went to Scott's Corner just to have a drink after work.
Yeah.
And I met this guy at the bar, and he was a film producer from Toronto.
Yeah.
So he started talking about all the different places he's filmed. And then I started talking about all the places I've been.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was great. I had a really good time, and I got on the bus to go home. And then I just started bawling on the bus. And I was like, what is going on with me? What am I doing? I'm supposed to be playing music. This isn't right. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So I called my friend Sarah, and she was on tour on the East or the West Coast. And I told her, I'm feeling really good and I'd love to get back into music. And she said, of course, Ken, I love you so much. The day I'm back is the day you're in the band.
She was solo at this point?
She was on tour with Robin as a duo.
Okay.
But it was before the Stronger Now CD. It was like right in that period.
So the joys are over at this point.
Joys are done. And not to speak for Sarah, I don't think that she wanted to put together another Joys band.
Right.
She'd just do it herself.
Right.
And I was happy to join on there. So it's been 7 years of Sarah Smith since then.
You've gone everywhere.
And and she's taken me a lot of places. I'm very grateful.
She's taken me to a lot of places.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful that she takes you as well.
So am I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we get to do these hotel episodes.
Yeah, it's cool.
Episodes from the road.
I love it.
I need a title for these. Episodes from the road rhymes. Road episode. Episode from the road.
Okay.
I feel like there's a tighter title to put on this, but I don't know what it is yet. But you're good at that sort of
yeah, I will think about it.
We'll have to think about it.
I don't have anything right now. But usually I'm quick. But the night is mysterious tonight.
It's so mysterious here.
Yes. It is. This room is mysterious, actually. We've got a leaky floor. There's water here. You would think it's coming from the fridge because it's near the fridge, but there's no water under the fridge.
No evidence that it's coming from
And then we
fridge.
have a light above our coffee maker that doesn't work, and then all of a sudden it does work.
We have flip a mysterious switch.
I guess so, yeah. And we close the bathroom door, and then it just starts rattling for no reason.
Yeah.
But
what we need to do is Tanya.
Yeah, we travel with a medium, so I do feel safe.
She's sleeping across the hall or whatever.
Yeah.
We should bring her over here to
exercise the room.
To exercise, or just at least give us a heads up on whether there's something going on here.
Yeah, well, there is something going on.
There is?
But that's okay. I'm fine with it.
You're fine because you're Ken the Zen.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. I know there's a lot of things that I don't know.
Right.
So,
right.
And I'm okay with it. I feel safe. It's okay.
I feel safe as long as you feel safe.
Have you seen your biceps? I'm completely safe against any poltergeist.
Poltergeists are not afraid of my physique.
You don't think so?
No, and they know that I tweaked my back at the gym today, so I'm half immobile.
I might trick them into thinking that I'm a poltergeist because I am so blanc.
Because you're white?
You're
very
blanc. White. Yeah. All right, another glass of wine.
We should have another glass of wine.
Let's do that.
Should we sign off? Do we want to talk more?
I don't know. Is this like a part one or?
This episodes from the road will just be what they are, and they'll run when they run. So you'll be.
Well, you're the producer of this, so I don't
know. You'll be back on. Denny will be on.
I hope I'm back on. Speaking of on and back on, I am proud to say that I am the first guest that's been on the show that is a super fan of the show. I've heard every episode.
That's true.
And I love my boy John, so
I do appreciate
I'm grateful.
I do appreciate that. You're going to be on a lot of episodes, man, because
I hope so.
We're going to Europe, and I'm going to need content.
Well, I can give you some content.
Content. I would be very content with that if you did.
Yeah, that's better. That's way better. Thank you.
Very nice. See, we spend a lot of time punning at each other.
Yes, everybody should do that. If you're a thinker, like we both are.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to think about because you can overthink about things that you don't really want to be thinking about.
No, but if you can overthink about nailing the next pun,
yeah, that's right.
That's terrific.
Wordplay is fantastic.
Wordplay is fun. Yeah. And when you're on the road, sometimes it's what passes the time.
Sure. When you're in my brain, that passes every second.
You've been on the road for a decade and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I calculated well over 3,000 shows.
That's crazy.
Closing in on probably 4,000. But
wow.
I don't want to say that number because I'm not sure. It's somewhere around there. It's insane.
Do you still love it?
I do. It's not that I love playing music. I am playing music. That is me.
That's what you are.
I can't help it. Like you said, growing up, leaning against the stereo and sleeping, music is my best friend for sure. Yeah. It's got me through everything.
The thing is, the music that you love will never let you down.
That's right.
And I've had times when I've been on the road and things have been rough. And, it's not hard especially on a 4 or 5 week run to start feeling kind of down.
Yeah.
And if things aren't going great, sometimes you can get lost in that. But you put on, in my case, Cool from the Wire by Dirty Looks.
Ooh. Never heard of it.
It's definitely one of my favorite 80s rock records. Okay. It's a dynamite record.
So that'll pull you out of any hole. That's a record.
It does, man. And in my case, I always put on like, it's always rock music.
Yeah.
And rock music is defiant. Or it used to be. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah, some circles.
When I was in teachers college and I had to get up in front of the class and teach as a student teacher, which is intimidating as hell, by the way.
I can imagine. I certainly made it that way for my student teachers.
I bet you did.
Oh, man.
Right? Yeah.
Those poor guys.
So, I'm on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And every time I would get up, in the back of my head, I would be playing a song, and it would be another Canadian band.
Okay. I think I know.
Give it a shot.
This is total random, and I have no idea. It's probably wrong, but was it Haywire?
It was not Haywire. But think of a Canadian hair metal 80s.
Canadian hair metal 80s. It's not really my genre, but is it Enough's Enough?
They're Canadian.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, dude, you know members of this band.
Oh.
And it's not Helix, so I'm taking that off right now.
I definitely know some of those guys. Killer Dwarfs.
Yes, guy.
Nice. Wow, where do I get this stuff?
So, Killer Dwarfs have a song called Hard Luck Town.
Okay.
It's off of Method to the Madness, I think.
Nice.
They're best known for that first record, Stand Tall, but
totally. Yeah.
If you hung with them, they put out a bunch of really good records.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them in concert.
And who do you know?
I know Jerry Finn, who plays guitar for them. He played guitar for Sarah Smith on the first record, and touring until that little time period was over. And then also with the Joys, we opened up for Russ Dwarf.
Oh, did you?
A few times.
All right.
Yeah, him and his tricycle. It was amazing.
So Hard Luck Town is it's the first track on the record, so it's a banging rock and roll song, and it's just like a defiant kind of song.
Okay.
And there's like this lyric, hey man, I haven't seen you for a while. Hey man, I remember when you were wild.
Oh yeah.
And I would always just sing that in my head as I was getting up to teach. It's like this build you up kind of, I don't even know why. The lyrics don't matter. Yeah. It's just the song.
Resonates with you.
And the groove.
Yeah.
Hey man, I haven't seen you for a while. Just get up and teach.
That works. Yeah.
The music that resonates with you will always be there.
It is true.
When everything else is gone.
It is true. For me, it's Guns N' Roses for sure.
Sure.
If it wasn't for Sweet Child of Mine, I might not even ever play guitar. That was the one that,
we sort of played that song the other day.
Kind of played it the other day, but I remember hearing that in grade 8, and in particular, the guitar solo. And when he clicks on that wah, I was just like, oh shit, my mind was blown.
Yeah.
And I thought, that is exactly what I want to do. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And then a couple years later, Nirvana came out, and then I thought, I have the talent that I can do that. There's no question.
Yeah, your life changed with Nirvana.
It's been since then.
So did mine in a way.
Yeah, that's right.
My music scene collapsed and yours blossomed.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it's just the inspiration that it's possible.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't possible for me to be in spandex and put on makeup and that kind of stuff. It's just. For me, that's not me. There's no way.
Right.
But then I could see those other stuff. So before it was punk music, I could do that. But then Nirvana could be like mainstream, alternative rock music, and I could just be me, and that's all you needed to be.
Right.
So, thank you to those guys for sure.
I was because I'm 3 years older than you, which is just the right amount of time.
It's those 3 years
for a seismic shift.
Yeah. That's right.
Because Nirvana happened in like 92-ish?
Yeah, 91 we'll say, but massive in 92.
Right. So there's these weird two things happening. Metallica had blown up on the Black Album.
Love Metallica too.
And Nirvana was happening.
Yeah.
So like neither of those is hair metal.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And after Nirvana came, man.
Metallica is the grunge of hair metal. Or metal, I guess. Because they're just like, give me a t-shirt and let's rock the shit out of this place.
Yeah, Metallica was no frills.
Yeah, which I appreciated that. And Guns N' Roses too.
Those thrash bands were.
Yeah.
Like Megadeth was the same. Anthrax was the same. It's like.
Yeah, I guess it was.
I mean, they had long hair and they had all that, but it was not the over-the-top makeup, all that stuff. It was very much more raw.
Yes.
But, I mean, the music was... Well, it was like those early Metallica records are produced raw.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I love them. Absolutely.
And it was heavy, and it was unpretentious music, and it just slammed. And I was always more of a Megadeth fan than a Metallica fan.
Okay. Well, I can see why Megadeth's great.
Right? And some people don't like Dave Mustaine's voice. I love Dave Mustaine's voice. So
it's cool.
I gravitated towards Megadeth. But I love Metallica, too. Yeah. But I was a hair metal guy, man. I grew up on Cinderella and Tesla, and those bands were my high school bands.
Yeah.
And you were just coming into high school and just got there when it flipped.
Yeah. Like I was into Motley Crue. And Poison a bit.
Oh, there's a knock on our door.
Oh, gosh.
Let's find... Keep talking, Ken. Tell us about Motley Crue.
Well, Motley Crue, what can I say? He was the one they called Dr. Feelgood. He was the one that made me feel all right. And it was, I got a cassette tape from a friend. Dr. Feelgood was the first record. So then I came and...
Ken, look who's here.
Oh, Axl Rose. She's going to bring me to my knees. Knees. Yeah. Hello. Speaking of mysterious nights, here's one.
I'm really sorry to bother you guys with your podcast
Sarah
recording.
Smith is here, everyone.
I just was wondering if you had any chips.
I don't have any chips. I have granola bars, though.
This is life on the road, man.
Yeah.
And I'm in my boxer shorts. I'm glad you're not videotaping. Sorry to bother you.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, it's okay. You just don't know where it is. We keep it under the counter.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's a balls out show.
Okay, is there a vending machine?
I saw soda on the first floor.
Yeah. Okay. Soda might do. Thanks.
All right. She's got the fever for the flavor of a Pringle.
I was expecting Sarah's first appearance on the show to be a little more formal than that.
Well, she's wearing her black jacket.
And her good boxer shorts.
Yeah. And it matches her sandals, so life is good.
So, all right, there you go. A cameo, in and out. Leave them wanting more, like George Costanza.
That's right. Except for she wasn't quite like Kramer there, because her hotel has the doors locked.
That's right, she couldn't whip the door open.
She couldn't do that.
No.
But she would have. She would have came in and like a whirlwind. It would have been amazing.
Elaine Bennis is my TV crush.
I enjoy her hair when it was curly. I do. I really do. She has great dance moves also, I seem to remember. And
there's a generational divide too between Seinfeld people and Friends people.
Right. I'm a Seinfeld person.
Me too, 100%. I hated Friends and still do.
I hated Friends too. And the mother of my daughter loved Friends. So we were like the kind of people that would watch the 7 o'clock rerun, then the 7:30 rerun, which was probably the same episode every day.
Really?
Yeah, it was a rough go. It really was.
I can just remember being on the road with Carly Thomas. Mm-hmm. This is the first band we played in together.
That's true.
It was Carly. Yeah. And she and I did 6 weeks out west, just the two of us for the most part. And I'd be dropping Seinfeld references like they were hot. And they would nothing. Just nothing.
That was it, eh?
And then she would...
No junior mints for her?
None. Zero. Oh. Those can be very refreshing. And she would start telling me about Friends episodes, and I'd be like, I don't.
Keep your stinky feline away.
Right? Yeah. So, it's amazing that Carly and I made it through that, being two diametrically opposite people.
It's true. I got to hook up with you on that tour. Actually, we ran into each other in Alberta.
Hinton, Alberta,
in the mountains.
A memorable night. For
it was
me.
Good. Yeah,
that's the night.
Me too. It was good.
The next morning, I secured Joel Plaskett's bottle of whiskey.
That's right. He was in the next room or so.
He was there.
Yeah. That's right.
We traded him Carly CDs for a bunch of whiskey.
Right. And speaking of Joel Plaskett, right now he's on tour for, I guess it would be the 30th anniversary, I think, of his band Thrush Hermit.
Thrush Hermit?
Yeah, which when I was a young punker, I was kind of into that a little bit.
Yeah, Thrush Hermit. That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
That's cool. Man. Yeah. I remember when Carly said you were coming in to play bass.
Yeah.
I was stoked about that and intimidated.
Oh, well.
I was
no reason for that. But
I was
happy to be there.
but I didn't know you.
Right.
I knew you as the dude who plays with Sarah and at a certain level.
Right.
And so for me at that time, it was like, oh man.
I dropped the bar quick.
Do I have the game to hang with
Oh, yes, you did.
Ken Ross? It was kind of a pivotal thing for me. It was great.
That was great. That was a good little time for sure.
We were good in that band.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to record bass on Carly's album Explode.
Yes.
And it was great. It was really good. It was really fun.
We're about to reprise that band for one night only.
That is true. We're playing...
Part of it anyways.
Probably before this podcast comes out together in Grand Bend. It'll be fun.
On stage with Carly for the first time since, 2014 or something like that?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of
If
fun.
only we could either fly in Pat Dryberg or,
that'd be fun.
Or get Tyler.
That'd be
Tyler
good. Well, we
Turk.
got the scientist too. So
yeah.
I'm excited to play with Chris because I've only got to play with him once.
Chris McCready is a
fantastic.
banging guitar player.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a fun 4 songs.
It really will. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. All right. So I think this is the end of episode 1 of Episodes on the Road.
I love it.
Or Episodes from the Road. Or Roadisodes.
Roadisodes. Upper roads.
Epiroads?
That
doesn't work quite as well.
I'm not sure yet.
Episodes.
We'll think about that.
I don't know, because we're going to have many more of these.
Maybe episode 2 will be the unveiling of the name.
Or, you know what? People can write in their ideas for these Episodes from the Road.
That's an absolutely fantastic idea.
Yeah, because...
You have some kind of comment system or something on
iTunes
or whatnot?
If you're on Facebook, you can most certainly post your comments on what we should call these episodes where we're sitting in hotels just talking.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a bunch of them because we're heading to Europe for 5 weeks in September.
Mm-hmm.
Denny will be with us, the great Denny Goche, episode 3. Sarah will be with us. And then various characters along the way who are our friends and fans in Europe. So
I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be there 5 weeks this time.
Yeah.
And I think 4 weeks in Germany.
Something like that, yeah. So who knows who might turn up along the way?
That's right.
The first time we went to Europe, we had dinner with a dancer from Russia who used to be married to a member of Europe.
The lead guitar player.
Right? Oh, that was the keyboard player.
Oh, whatever.
But who knows who may wind up
I can't finger tap with my tongue.
I think you can.
Well, you could ask a couple of people.
Oh, the John Huff Podcast After Dark. The Ken sessions.
I love it. Yeah, I have no filter.
No,
that's just the way it is.
That makes
straight at me always.
That makes for great listening.
Yeah. Makes for great living, actually, people.
It does.
Don't hide behind anything.
Don't hide behind anything.
Speaking of BU, my wife just got 2 tattoos.
What did they say?
Okay. She's got a bumblebee on her left wrist.
Yeah.
And a baby sheep
BU.
on her right. So she crosses her arms like some kind of Shira.
BU.
So like whenever I mess up at home, which is often, she'll just give me that. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm cool. Just be me.
BU.
Yeah. Except for it's you. But to you is me.
Your record is called For You.
It is called For You. And speaking of my record,
EWE,
which is for EWE, it was produced by a gentleman named Mark Roebelin, who is the nephew of the Roebelin of Megadeth in the first few records.
Really?
Yeah. So
Peace sells
round and round. Yeah.
Peace salesman, man. Who's buying?
Yeah.
Who's buying?
Jeez.
I'm going to hit stop right now.
Bye.
Until next time. Hey, wine. Thank you once again, gentle listener, for taking in today's show. Thank you as well to the great Ken the Zen for being such an entertaining guest. If you want to know more about my guests, go to www.john-huff.com. That's JOHN-HUFF.com. You can also find the show on Facebook at The John Huff Podcast. I'll keep saying it until there's no more Apple Podcasts to talk about, but if you are a subscriber to Apple Podcasts, please do leave a rating and review of the show. Preferably a positive one. That's all the time we have for today, but I'll be back very soon. Until then, keep your wits about you, and remember, good things happen when you put yourself out there. Bye for now. The Premier League season is about to kick off. If anyone can get me Arsenal tickets, I'm all ears.